Welcome, bienvenidos to Roxana from Metamorphosis Rocks, and this is a short one because I cannot stop laughing. I was scrolling through Instagram as one does, and I came across this one post which I can't stop laughing. I'm gonna read it to you now, and it says, I'm trying not to laugh, I promise. I mean, if you're Puerto Rican, you're gonna get it. Anyway, it says, I've heard Bad Bunny's new album so many times that I just heard Penelope shout, Yo soy de PR. She's 4. We're not Puerto Rican. Alright, so the first time I ever heard that expression, I heard it from an actor, a very famous actor. His name is Benicio del Toro, who happens to be Puerto Rican, Boricua. Like Bad Bunny and like me. And so here's the thing. That whole album was made for Puerto Ricans. It's a celebration of our culture. It is a cry for us to remember where we come from and for us to not give an inch because people take a mile. He's talking about a very specific group of people. If you want me to go into all the things that have happened to Puerto Rico in a list and not go into a lot of detail because there's just too many of them, there is a reason why this whole move of people like Logan Paul to Puerto Rico to avoid paying taxes and getting all these tax breaks and whatnot, there's a reason why we call it the second colonization by Americans. Those of us who know. And so Benito, which is ironically also the name of Bad Bunny, he made an album that was meant for us. And the fact that so many people have identified with this album is interesting to me. Now, when it comes to other Latino countries, there is a different kind of interesting that goes attached to it because they have always... There's a lot of people from other Latino countries who will always stand there and say, well, Boricuas already have the citizenship and they get everything for free and blah, blah, blah. It's like they forget everything that we've had to sacrifice and everything that has been taken from us in order for us to have the citizenship for free. And so it hurts a little when they say things like that. But when I see them relate to the album because they recognize that, you know what, maybe I didn't think this through, or maybe I didn't think enough about the situation, or maybe I'm not very informed about what happened to Puerto Rico. And I'm not even talking about Margaret Sanger and the fact that they went and decided to test all their little programs to sterilize women, and they went to the island to practice that. I'm not even talking about the fact that we had the Buccaneers, which were a bunch of people who served in the military, were given the worst possible assignments, the worst possible equipment, the worst things, fought World War I, World War II, and by the way, that's why they gave us citizenship. It wasn't about being nice to us or anything like that. It was because they needed more bodies for the wars. And after these people went through the hell they went through, they were not acknowledged. They had to fight for every little bit of benefits that they could get, and more importantly, the Veterans Hospital in Puerto Rico was a disaster of major proportions until I believe it's better now, but I don't know because I don't live there anymore. I can tell you that everybody that I care for has moved to the United States to get treatment from the Veterans Administration up here because it's a lot better than the one in Puerto Rico. There's so many stories that I could tell you of things that have happened to Puerto Rico, not only by Americans, but by Spaniards as well. And so it always cracks me up when people identify with an album like this or with any work of art that involves this kind of situation. As far as saying from PR, it's really funny because when you move to the United States, PR means public relations. So every time you see PR, if you're Puerto Rican, you have to stop for a second and think, are they talking about Puerto Rican or are they talking about public relations? And that happened to me for a long time in the beginning. But those are the initials. Much like my initials are the initials of nurse. I had a friend whose initials were BS, and I always made fun of her for that because I was like, I cannot believe your initials are BS, but she was BS. So, why am I saying all this? I love that little 4-year-old girl who probably doesn't even know what Puerto Rico is, says that. And yes, we can have an entire conversation about the fact that Bad Bunny uses cursey word and it's not necessarily the most proper person, and some of his songs are a little crude and whatnot. But the reality is this. One of my favorite people in the world was an opera singer. He was a very famous opera singer. I'm not going to say his name right now. But that man, his entire career just got trashed because it came out that he was very loose with women. And he was not very respectful of his wife or any of the women in his life. And so sometimes people, and I remember Zig Ziglar being the one that started this crap about, you know, you can always tell a character of a person by the type of language that they use. And that's not true. I know a lot of people that can barely speak, or that they just are too shy to speak. So in terms of what they say, you hear nothing. And they have integrity, and they have a love of their country, and they have everything good that you can think of a human being. I also know a lot of people that curse a lot, and the only reason why they curse a lot is because they're very passionate about what they believe in. Has nothing to do with their integrity. It has nothing to do with what makes them a man or a woman. And so I leave you with that sentiment. Sometimes what people say is not it's not what you should be basing your opinions on. And I honestly believe Bad Bunny has done an amazing service to his country and to all of us by not only this video, but his entire career. He always brings up the fact that he's from Puerto Rico. If you are old enough to remember the original movie for the Addams Family, Raul Julia, who was the actor playing Gomez Addams, also always mentioned that he was from Puerto Rico. Ricky Martin always mentions that he's from Puerto Rico. Rita Moreno always mentions that she's from Puerto Rico. There is a pride that comes from coming from a place this tiny and having an ability or a talent or a skill. And even when you don't have any of that, like I have nothing compared to these people. But I'm very proud to be Puerto Rican. And I will always be. And so I'm very proud of this little girl, Penelope. I don't know who she is. I'll never meet her, but I love what she just said. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.